Mnuchin and OneWest were churning out foreclosures with ruthless efficiency. Doesn't sound to me like that's somebody who's going to be the kind of person who's going to look out for the interests of working families. And I want to talk a little bit about some who were victimized by OneWest's industrialized foreclosures. One of those was Dee Robertson, who in 2010 shared her story with the Orlando Sentinel. Ms. Robertson told them her parents were struggling to pay off the balance of their mortgage with OneWest. The mortgage had a balance of just $3,000, and Ms. Robertson was trying to help her parents get to the finish line. But instead of the usual mortgage payment of $600, OneWest demanded over $1,000 a month. OneWest said the home was in foreclosure and wanted $4,000 in attorney's fees, but the Robertsons had never received a foreclosure notice. When Ms. Robertson called OneWest to sort things out, it was just one big runaround. Gerald Lemback is an Army retiree who needed cash to finish an addition on a modest ranch-style home in Pasadena, Maryland. He and his wife had owned the home for 23 years. According to a story in the Baltimore Sun, Mr. Lemback discovered the monthly cost for the new loan was much higher than what he expected. Instead of the $3,200 monthly bill he anticipated, was almost $4,300. OneWest, which took over the servicing of Mr. Lemback's loan in 2009, denied his request for a modification in October 2010. A month after it had started foreclosure proceedings. He struggled with the process, and he hired an attorney who noted something that struck him as very odd. Signatures on the foreclosure documents were fakes. In fact, various foreclosure processors around the state of Maryland had been signing under the same lawyer's name. But even with this discovery, Madam President, of false signatures, it didn't bring about the speedy modification that Mr. Lemback was hoping for. Rose Goodell and her family bought a small house in 2005, making payments on the mortgage until her brother was murdered in 2009, and the family lost her income. The next mortgage payment was 2 weeks late. 1 week said it wouldn't accept, and Ms. Goodell had to apply for a loan modification instead. But OneWest didn't actually own the mortgage. They were only servicing it. They didn't even have the authority to grant a modification. So this citizen was caught in limbo for 2 years, unable to modify the loan, and at the same time had to fight eviction. Out of options, there was a group of protesters who went to Mr. Mnuchin's home, protesting outside and demanding answers. Shortly thereafter, despite OneWest's claim that there was nothing they could do to help Ms. Goodell, they relented. She was allowed to keep her home. But it took essentially a 4-alarm public relations calamity to make that happen. Mark and Jenny Ginn are another case Mr. Mnuchin may have heard about. The Ginns sued OneWest in San Mateo Superior Court, and they won. And I'll just describe a little bit from the San Francisco Chronicle how their case played out. While the Ginns were making dozens of calls and submitting reams of paperwork to get a loan modification from OneWest, another department of the bank proceeded to foreclose on their home. And this is especially important, Madam President, because this is a phenomenon known as dual tracking. OneWest strung the Ginns along for months before telling them just to send in their loan modification. They said the Ginns would have an answer in 30 to 60 days. But instead of a modification, they got an eviction notice. They were forced out of their home while Ms. Ginn was 8 months pregnant and grappling with a breast cancer diagnosis. They were left with no choice but to take OneWest to court. Their legal battle stretched more than 2 years. The costs were so substantial that even a victory in court could not save their home. Now, these are all examples of typical mortgages, everyday homeowners caught up in OneWest's exceptional and ruthless foreclosure practices.